There's only three hands now, Rory, and I think Shiv Baga is first.
Okay, Shiv. Okay. Sorry, I've got multiple screen here. Here we go. Shiv, go for it. You can unmute yourself.
Rory, I agree with whatever you're saying. Now, there's main leaders like Gobi and Tammy who were very much involved in all this. I mean, they've made a fortune out of this already. Now, what is their reaction to your initiative? Because at the end of the day, I think they're fair weather friends if they're not joining you in this to be able to try and take this further, to be able to get to the truth and to be able to discredit this idiot who comes in, who's got no business acumen, who comes in drunk and with abusive language. I mean, we need to take him to task. So I want to know what Gobi and Tammy are doing about this.
I have chatted to them directly, and it's for them to speak on their own behalf. But at this stage, they're not supporting the initiative. They want to find other solutions other than going to court. That's my understanding at this stage, Shiv. For me, I don't know what those other solutions are going to bring in time. And I think there's, for me, the only justice we can do is A, to stop it, and B, get to the truth. And there's only a couple of ways that you can take this. And the judicial system in Dubai, you're guilty till proven innocent. So it's not for us to prove necessarily, it's for Sam to prove his innocence. And the information that I'm aware of, or what's been told to me and what we got access to, clouds a lot of what he said. Let's put that in easy words. I don't want to talk necessarily about what it is, because I think it's one of the worst things you can do is say exactly what your strategy is from a legal perspective, and just allows people to prepare themselves unnecessarily, on a counter or to take flight or something. So, but what I can say is that I have been dealing with all the people directly at head office. If you look at the timeline of everything, if you look at who's actually been pulling the strings and what links to that, there's no doubt that Sam is the point man, without question. Garrett is basically just being caught up in something, but Sam maintains it's Garrett's company, and Sam maintains he's innocent. So it's not for me to decide, it's for the judicial system to decide. But what we do know, Shiv, is that you follow the money, and the money trail leads to where the money went. And without a shadow of a doubt, large amounts of money have disappeared off that platform. And now we're seeing all these rumors of hackers and, subscribe this and all these other nonsense things on Steemit, which is just to cloud and confuse the people. So I agree with you. I want to take this to task, because I don't want other people to be affected by this, and he must stand tall and be judged, but I can't speak on Gobi.
Yeah, Rory, on one hand, he claims to be a technical expert. And if he's allowed the hacking, then I think he's got to hold up his hand and feel responsible of what's happened. Forget about it, he is an absolute idiot. He blames every Tom, Dick and Harry except himself. Now, I really want to get down to the bottom of it with as far as Gobi and Tammy are concerned. I mean, Gobi and Tammy have been impressing upon us what a wonderful chap he is. Now he's shown it pretty obviously to all of us that, he is nothing but a scamming idiot. Now, they've made loads of money out of this. Let's not forget that. They've got big communities who have supported them. They owe it to those people, Rory, to be honorable like you have been, to be able to support this action. And if we get the support from those two people, we will get the requisite number of people taking this class action. So we need to really, they need to communicate with you to be able to, show their hand and show that they actually care for the community and they want to do something.
I agree with you in the sense that they need to show their hand at what they want to do, but I can't force them to communicate with their communities, and every leader's up, can do what they want to do at the end of the day. But I think the question should come from the community, what they expect from their leadership. For me, I believe this is the right thing to do, is to get to the bottom of it, get to the truth, and fight for the people that are not able to fight for themselves, who have been totally obliterated financially. And there's people that need help. Some people's view is, no, well, let's just forget about that and work on something new, and then we'll make everybody well again with something new. But that doesn't necessarily heal everybody, and it doesn't stop something going forward. And I just want us to get to the truth, stop other people being hurt, because this is not just about Vidilook. This is not just about VAV. I mean, blatantly, 287 people paid $2,800. Sam Lee stands and says, listen, pay your money and I'll pay you back in 2 days, and just doesn't do it. And then he says, oh, that's a technical glitch. I mean, guys, what more do we need to do to actually bring justice? And if we go, let me tell you now, if we've got 10,000 people, Shiv, that's well coordinated with that, and also take into account this is an international case because it's from all around the world that we're laying claims. The Dubai courts look at this extremely differently. We know exactly how to keep Sam in Dubai. That's not the issue. The issue is, does the community want justice? And I can't do that on my own. I can only put my head up. And a lot of people saying, Rory, you're crazy. You're going to get death threats. You're going to get this. Well, somebody's got to at least stand up and say, let's try. That's it, Shiv. Let's try. But
Rory, you're honorable. You're not crazy. You're honorable. You care about the community, and that's the reason why you're doing it.
True.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you. I'm with you 100%.
Thank you, Shiv. I appreciate that. Thank you for your comments. And I hope the community supports the initiative, then we can all get the justice we need. Super. Thank you, Shiv. Appreciate that very much. Who else do we have hands up there? Sorry, can't see them all. I'm not sure if I'm on the right screen right now.
Yes, Ivan, you can unmute.
Hello. Yes.
Hi, Ivan.
Hello. Hi. I just want to know if it's possible to do the lawsuit without the 10,000 people, because if it's for the money, instead, we got 3,000 people already, so it's a lot of people. Can we do it legally?
You can, but the impact is, when we spoke with you could be one person, Ivan, and go and lay a charge. But if we're going to have the international impact, and, if we have a lawsuit from a particular program that has in excess of 10,000 people, which is 10% of victims laying claims, there's two parts to it. One is, when 1% of the people complain, it's just, okay, well, somebody's complaining. But when you've got 10,000 people and we open up 10,000 cases against the individual, and it's from around the world, it's not just from one jurisdiction. And on top of that, it does cost money, Ivan. Yes, we can go with 3,000. I just want to make sure that we have enough gas to get through this, because we can do the initial stage, let's say for 30, 40,000. But what's going to happen? We need to make sure we've got the sustainability of the funds to get to the action that we need to. So yes, we can go with 3,000, but we're not going to get the impact that we need to really get the attention of, let's call it the very, very senior people in Dubai.
Okay, I just concerned that, if we don't reach the amount of people for next week or whatever the day is, if we can do it just at 3,000 people, because, at the end, if I need to pay three times that amount, obviously, it's nothing compared of what we lost already. So yeah.
I agree with you. And look, I am also, again, I don't want to make promises ahead of the time, but I have been discussing things with certain people to give value for that $15. But that's not the reason of why I want people to join the campaign. I want them because they want the truth, and that they want to get to the bottom of it with a chance of getting their money back. Because the way I see it is that we've just all been absolutely taken advantage of and lied to, Ivan. And my concern is, you must remember, Ivan, it's not just about Vidilook. This goes back to Hyper. And if we can't get 10,000 people out of all of these campaigns, then the community has not taken an interest in getting justice. And that for me is a concern. 10,000 people, we are definitely in the home straight to get what we need to get. Because if we are going to get our money, the amount of attention and focus and financial resource needed to go and do all the audits on those companies is going to be immense. And we need to make sure we're not underfunded for it. So if we only raise 3,000, then maybe those 3,000 people can make a decision at the beginning of the month what we want to do. But my gut feel is we should be getting at least 10,000 without question.
Okay.
Rory, I
Perfect.
agree
Thank
with
so
you.
much.
I agree with you that we need to have numbers. To be perfectly honest, it's not the financial muscle that's going to count. It's the number of people that matter.
Correct. Correct. That is 100% correct, Chip, because when you go out and say 10,000 people around the world have been scammed by whoever has scammed them, whoever the justice comes out, that's a very different conversation in the courts to 200, 300, 100, or 3,000 even. It gets the international status that we need and puts pressure on the right places to get the answers that we need.
Mike?
Okay, Mike, you next.
Hi, this is Michael here. Rory, thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks,
As
Mike.
you say, it's not easy being a leader at such a difficult time because you've got forces working against you. And again, as you say, we have the community behind you. For me, I think, as you rightly say, the community wants justice. The community wants the truth. But it's just that, as you say, there are some people who are just tired of running from one scam to the other, and they don't have the energy to fight. So we have to ignite that energy in them. First thing for me is, again, as you rightly said, we need to be talking to more leaders and then get them on board. So we don't know how on our own, I've tried all my team, they're really on board. Everybody's there. So I don't know in terms of a campaign, whether we can try to reach out to other members from other team leaders. Because as you say, some of the leaders might be with some secretly, you never know. They could have other things that they're below. So we need maybe something that we can reach out to other members and try to get them on board. And then also what I was thinking is how also we need to be thinking of how do we really stop some, because I'm surprised that with all these schemes that are listed here, you still find people putting money on them. So there must be a way, either we have a campaign or social media. If this money is raised, we can become looking at justice and truth, but also at the same time, have a social media campaign to ensure that nobody invests in anything that if some name is mentioned anywhere, you should really run away in the opposite direction. So for me,
Look,
I think let's continue.
I agree with you, Mike. But Mike, on Friday, Sam said himself, guys, people are going to lose money on this platform if you come in late to do this. So Sam is actually now playing open cards, which he never did in the beginning, saying that, well, the price is going to get manipulated and the coin is going to go up and down and there's going to be supply and all this. I think people are just blindly throwing money into something that they're hoping they're one of the first people before the rug pull happens until things collapse. But I cannot support an initiative where people blindly are not paying any attention or know that they could be losing all their money. I just can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, as you say, let's continue to drive for people to subscribe, and then by the time I'm sure the numbers will go up, but we just need ways to which we reach a larger community, and then also look at what options, what do we really want to do, which is justice, the truth, and then also to stop him from people getting to maybe again the part of the website that we're doing should be an educative website which will capture all the projects he's been involved in and which have failed, because until you put all this together, I didn't really realize that he was behind all these schemes. So it's good that if you see all what he's been involved in, it's quite huge.
Yeah, look, I just want to add something else, with the other leaders, and also Shiv, what you said earlier. I think everybody reacts differently to things and has their choice of the way that they want to do it. And you mentioned Gobi and Tammy, and I know Gobi's heart's in the right place and Tammy's heart's in the right place. I know they do care about their communities. But for them, as I said, maybe the legal approach isn't their right approach. They want to maybe focus on putting money in the pockets of people immediately. But that doesn't really justify what's happened. So again, I've got nothing against any leaders. I think the community must decide what the community decides, and we all members of the community. It doesn't matter if we're a leader or just an individual. We all have a right to say. This is like a democratic, open, who wants to do something. And if that information has been passed through and the community is aware of it, and they choose to do nothing, then the community has spoken. And I think that's really the end of it. And if we're going to get the support of the leaders stroke community, the best way we can do it is just share it and just get the people's view and saying, do you agree with this or don't you? And then we make the call. You know, I don't think it's that difficult to fill in three lines and say, yes, I'm committed to wanting to get to the truth. And, you know, if you look at most people, they owed a lot of money. You know, they owed a lot of money. I'm talking on multiple campaigns. And we cannot go to court unless we're properly funded. That's very important as well. Otherwise, we're all wasting each other's time.
Yes, I definitely agree with you, Rory.
Mario, sorry, Mario.
Mario.
Good morning, Rory. Good morning,
How
everybody.
you doing, Mario? Yeah, good, man. Good to see you.
Mario from Texas. First of all, you know, there was a couple of questions that was brought up here in the chat, and the question that I want to know is, you know, have you reached out to Keith Williams, Andrew, any of the old presenters from Hyperverse, Hypernation, Brenda Chunga? Where are these people at? Why are they not here? Why only you? Why is it only you? That's my question. What are people afraid of? What can we be afraid of?
Well, I think I'm not going to mention a specific leader, but you mentioned the name now. So I know Keith Williams is suffering from cancer and and might be towards his end of his life. I don't know. But I know a lot of those leaders that made a crazy amount of money are also worried that they have to pay money back maybe, or that, you know, if this does go forward, that they maybe haven't reported the money that they've earned. Maybe that's part of the case. I don't know, Mario. I think for me, those leaders need to make a decision of what they want to do. And I'm publicly out here saying that this just can't continue, because in my way, it makes me an accomplice to the situation, and I don't want to be that.
This has gone from Hyperverse. A lot of people have lost a lot of money. Hypernation. I don't even hear people talk about our NFTs that was stolen from us. Okay. Because we purchased those NFTs, whether they were from OpenSeas and stuff like that. We were just giving an amount into another site. Now it's Dalversal, and Dalversal bought all of our data, all our information. And this is all something very similar to what Sam Lee is all about, is data. And I don't understand why our leaders are not, you know, Tammy. I mean, you know, I had a hard time going into some of her calls lately because she looks at me coming in, she shuts me down. You know, and we had a lot of other leaders. Where are they at? You know, can we reach out to them? Because I mean, I feel for my team. I feel for them. You know,
I agree with you.
It's something that's very serious. You know, it's on your shoulders, on our shoulders as leaders, big time.
Exactly.
You know,
because what answers do you give the people at the end of the day? And that's what I'm saying is, here's your chance to get to the truth. You can take action right now for a Big Mac and a Whopper or something, whatever you call it. Let's try and get down to the truth of it. It's in your best interest to do it, and we can do it. But if we can only do it if we unite as a community. I've got 233 Hyper V5 contact details. I haven't reached out to them directly as yet. I do aim to do that. You know, but we had 108,000 people in Vidilook alone. And I think a lot of those people that made money in Hyper, I'm talking about the previous V5s, they kind of just wanted to move on, and, you know, maybe they've spent all the money and they worry that they have to pay it back. I don't know. But for me, it's not about that right now. About the community.
$15 support to stop this madness from continuing. A lot of my team has moved on to WAS on this new BCC stuff. I've given up. I've told them that, you know, you're on your own if you're doing it. But, you know, I'm like you. I was there yesterday on that call because I want to see justice for our team. But, you know, it's very hard. I mean, I see a lot of leaders in here this morning who, you know, you got to speak up. Don't be afraid. Speak up. That's why we're human beings from all over the world. We need to get together on this and stop this craziness from continuing. Rory, you have my support, as much as possible. I have a lot of people that do listen to me once in a while, so I'm not afraid. I mean, what can I possibly lost? We've lost a lot. We've lost a lot of team members. We've lost a lot of money. And, this needs to stop. Everybody needs to come together here and really, really needs to stop. I mean,
absolutely. I agree, Mario. And look, I'm still chatting with Chavez directly as well, because I'm looking at getting some added value. Chavez has made it very clear that what Sam does, he doesn't agree with him. He said Sam is mentally unstable. He said Sam single-handedly ruined We Are All Satoshi in his move when he took all the funds. And Chavez is doing what he can do. At least he's not run away. He stood up and he's building something where people can try. He's trying.
You're on WAS right now, and Chavez, I love him to death, and he knows I do. And he's a very good teacher and technician, but he's an employee. He's a puppet just like Vivek is, But all right, so if they stopped and changed everything in WAS, why wasn't all of that POR returned to the community and let the community decide whether they wanted to continue to all of these other projects, give them back their money, give them back their funds so they can carry on? The same as Vidilook and VAV and all that other BS that's going into VEND. Give some of that money back. If not all of it, some of it, give a little bit of incentive. But no, he just comes on these videos and these Zooms and tries to demean everybody and talk down to everybody. And, I've only had a couple of instances where I've spoken to him. I've asked Tammy to talk to him to calm down long ago, but he doesn't do it. So we all have to come together. We do. We really do. Everybody needs to come together. Bill, I see you here. I see a lot of my team members are here. We have to come together. Rory, you're doing a great job. I commend you for it. And, you're not the person that that guy, what's his name?
Danny.
Danny, old boy. He's out for clicks, obviously. At least he's doing something good by exposing Sam as much as possible. So whatever he's doing. But everybody needs to get together, guys. I mean, a lot of you guys know me from Hyperverse, Hypernation, and Vidilook and all of that. Come together. Come together. Listen to this man. Come together, at least to make justice. We're not out to hang everybody. We are out for our community, our team, get some of their. I got people in the Philippines that are destroyed from it because of this. And it hits the heart. It hits the soul really a lot,
Absolutely. Enough. If we can, we've had enough lessons here, Mario. And I think if the one thing that we can do and unite as a community, even if we do something going forward, and, I'm not sure what that could be, but we need a methodology to protect ourselves and to make sure we totally understand everything before we move forward. We understand risk and we all get that, but this wasn't risk. Sam came back and said, I'm going to make whole everybody that was in Hyper. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And he lured everybody back in with the false promise and then just took it all away again. That for me is totally unacceptable.
Tammy and Gobi need to step up to the plate too, because they drug a lot of the team, and we supported Tammy because of who Tammy was, and she needs to step up. I mean, I don't unfortunately talk anymore in those Zooms, but they really do. Everybody all the team needs to come together and say, hey, team leaders, go to your team leaders, go as far back as Hyperverse and bring these leaders forward and say, hey, we need you. We need you. you know?
Yeah, and I think you're asking the right question. I mean, again, it's not for me to tell, you know, these leaders, Keith or, you know, Bitcoin Rodney or all of these V5s and everybody else, what they should do, because we're all independent members here. But I do believe the community has the right to ask the leaders, what is your view and where do you stand and what are you planning to do about it? Or are you going to, they can turn around and say, look, I don't want to do anything, but I'm going to make it right by giving you money back this way or do that. That's their choice. But my concern is we need to get to the bottom of this and the truth. And my feeling on this is that we will prevail. And when the truth does come out, I think it's going to be one of the most revealing cases in cryptocurrency's history.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people connected here, and it's not just Sam Lee. It's much bigger than Sam Lee, in my opinion.
Well, reach out. I've got contacts to several. I've kept in contact even with the compliance lady that was in Hyperverse, and you know, she disappeared, and I'm sure that some of these people, something has to come out, because I believe Sam Lee's been behind the whole track.
Oh yeah, who was employing everybody?
Venus track.
But let's just take Vidilook. Who was employing who? You know, think of the logic. As far as I know, customer service people don't just arrive and say, oh, I'm going to feel like working as a customer service agent. People were employed for the purpose. I mean,
answer me this one question. What was the purpose of you guys signing an NDA? You were under an NDA.
That was because we would potentially have knowledge in advance of the community, which could sway our decision making on the price of VDL, or, you know, it's like knowing information up front before something could happen. And they wanted to make sure that they could discuss things openly.
Are you still under that NDA?
Well, the NDA was signed with a person that's not there anymore, and the company doesn't exist. And now we're told that the company doesn't exist anymore, so there isn't an NDA. And anyway, if we go to court, the NDA will be stripped open, and all the information and documentation we have there will then become public knowledge, because the court will remove the NDA on it. So the question is, are we under NDA? Well, up until last week, there was a corporate, and now Sam has just announced Vidilook corporate doesn't exist anymore with a wave of a hand. How does that work? And let's not forget that the certificate that was used was the Californian Vidilook certificate address that was in the app itself and published, had nothing to do with Garrett's Vidilook license, which was a visa requirement license. But again, what's happened behind closed doors between Sam and Garrett and whoever is for the judicial system to clarify. Mario, I can't speculate, but I can put 2 and 2 together and work out what my views are on it.
Well, Garrett himself said that he did that so he would be able to stay in Dubai, and I mean, you know, do we have him on our side? Have you communicated with him?
I am in contact with all the necessary parties.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Mario. Much appreciate your questions.
Thank you.
Sharon?
Yeah, Roger. Okay, Roger's talking.
Hey, Roger.
Sharon, if I can, for the first time, just to ask a few questions and give a few opinions. And the first opinion I'd like to offer is, you know what, something you said on a few occasions, that we come from South Africa and we are a poverty-stricken country. So even a matter of $15 to many of our people that have already invested and feel that they've lost out are simply saying, we can't afford that anymore. And my bottom line is to say, why don't we form a separate list of all these people on the basis of, guys, if you can afford $8 or even $10, come in, because we believe we will get the money back. We must not have the negative thought in us or predict it as a negative impact we may not get the money. We may lose the case. That's not the case. We know we have all the facts at our fingertips. We know what's happened. All of us. There's not one person on this call this afternoon that doesn't feel what I'm saying now is true. So we also do not want to point fingers at Sam at this stage. Many of us are still hoping that Sam will come forward and say to us, guys, this is what I've done. I apologize and I'm going to fix it. And this is how I'm going to fix it with a board of directors, not independently on his own. This might well happen. In fact, I will go so far as to say that he is on this call with us. The other issue I wanted to ask was, do we have 10,000 or more members just in South Africa, Rory?
I can't give the breakdown. I would assume, yes, we do. We do.
We do. So
we could go with the, so to answer your first question, the $15 at this stage, I've not asked anybody to pay any money at this stage. And we're looking for commitment of people that are prepared to fill in some information and send the details. I agree with you that if they can even put $2 or $5, but you know, I'm not promoting Vend at the moment, but you can, what I'm told is that you can do daily watches on there and earn enough to be able to draw $10, $15 out of Vend. And in fact, if you look at the conversation that's taking place, everybody is linked into that program right now out of default because of Vidilook. So let's assume that you're earning $1 per day. For the last 2 weeks, you could have actually drawn enough money out of there to actually, and wouldn't that be quite ironic that 10,000 people get the $15 from Sam and put it into the court case, which is going to bring the truth. But I'm not saying join Vend, please understand.
No,
Robin's saying it's 50 cents a day. So 1 month you've then contributed, or so, you know, but you can also do tasks. I think like it was in Vidilook, you could watch a corporate video and earn $1, and you can join Telegram, etc. But I agree with you, but I think where there's a will, there's a way, Rog. And my whole thing is to make sure that we get 10,000 people and enough capital to make sure that we can see this through. That's the key.
The other issue that I want to address with you, Rory, in front of everybody is this. Other platforms who hear what you have done with 10,000 members or whatever membership we eventually land up on, other people that are doing this sort of thing, building platforms and then just disappearing with the money, and then have all sorts of funny excuses. Many of them just disappear altogether. Johan Steenhuisen was one particular issue. He's now in Brazil in a jail. So the impact that if you take this forward and we go right through to the bitter end, and essentially we do win our case, what will happen is a lot of people in these systems that what they develop will be very cautious about doing this again, is my opinion.
I have actually spoken to somebody, and I can't reveal their name, going forward, where there will be a potential legal product that if we have X amount of membership of that product, and if enough of our members were, let's say, scammed by it, if I could use the word, then they would kick into legal proceedings. In other words, we got legal protection on those companies at a view. Because I think right now we're in that stage where we've gone through, we need regulation in the system, and we need protection. And right now we've been working in very murky waters, but the outright blatant theft of what's taken place, in my opinion, and again I'm saying theft in my opinion, is just, we've got to put a stop to it. And it's bigger than just Vidilook. This is about actually, because I would like to be in a position, Roger, as I was saying earlier with Mario, where we as a community look out for each other. We're not saying we're going to get it perfect every time, but at least we've got some way of making an informed decision, and our own decision, where we at least have the right information. Because I think a lot of these things that, I would, the due diligence we did do on Sam was legitimate. you know, going back to the recordings, I'm talking prior to Hyper Days and Ryan Chu and all the recordings of them on the interviews. And, you know, even if you look at, was it Netflix or Amazon? I think Amazon Prime did an interview on them as well. So these are public things that have now all of a sudden it's all just disappeared. And I think there needs to be some answers given to the public that have vested so much trust and money in the system.
Just finish off. I don't want to keep you too long. I'm going to come back to the very first issue. I think all the leadership should address every single member on their downlines and say, guys, come in, put your name down, even if you can afford $2, as you say, put something in, because when we win the case, you're going to get a lot more back out of this. And just incidentally, since I said Sam was on the line, he immediately raised himself.
Ah, okay.
Thank you, Rory.
All right.
All
right, thank you. I actually have something in mind for the people that potentially can't afford it. But again, you don't want to communicate that because then everybody says they can't afford it. So those that have contacted me directly, I've just asked them to put a special note under the free comment section so we can ascertain how many people genuinely can't afford it. So yes, it is something that's in my hand. And again, I think you also raised a great point. You know, those people that maybe made a lot of money out of it, they should be trying to support their people as well, you know, whether it's this legal case or something else. So let's see what comes out of this.
When is your deadline for this?
Well, look, I wanted to, I've given sort of the 1st of October as the cutoff to see where we sit with the community.
You need more. Some of these
We just got the law saying that Alan Webb, he's his hand to also raise.
All right, Alan, go for it. Sorry, Mario.
Hi, Rory. Hi, everybody. Rory, quick question or observations.
Yes.
When you signed the NDA, who did you sign the NDA with? Was it an individual or with the actual company, Vidilook?
It was I'd have to double check, but I know who I signed with is no longer employed there. So it was representing a company, but the license number wasn't on. I need to double check that though.
Okay, because my other observation is, you know, Sam says there's no Vidilook corporate. How can he make a statement like that when he's actually not the owner?
You've raised a very interesting question. Well, how did Conrad get there, and who got Conrad to work there?
Exactly. So, you know, there's so many different...
Who got Parrot to work there? Did they just walk off the street and say, great, this sounds like a good idea? Somebody was pulling the strings and all of a sudden saying this corporate doesn't exist anymore. Come on, guys. I mean, are we really going to be taken for such fools?
The other statement is, I know Chavez is busy sorting wars out. Is Scam Lee not involved in that as well? A lot of the community is concerned about that.
Of course he is.
You know, I think it's a very fair thing to be concerned, but my current discussions with Chavez has been extremely supportive on the initiative that I'm doing.
Okay.
If I can leave it at that. And I think he's trying to get to a deadline by the 29th. And he may surprise all of us, because even though Sam has been his friend in his past, I don't think Sam's actually does not agree at all with, and he's totally bamboozled how people will continue with this vend. So it's they're on different courses, and there has not been much communication between the two since VAV took place. I can say that, or the last sort of grab of money. So I think very much Chavez is in his corner with his team. My understanding is given back stable DAO as a whole system, and everything has been handed back to Sam Lee, and anything that he was involved in with regards to that. And that is why going forward legally with We Are Satoshi, a new company has been formed to make sure that if it does go forward, which it seems like it's going to be doing, that there's a complete different governance. And Sam, he's stated on a couple of times that Chavez is 100% the owner of We Are All Satoshi going forward, and has been busy with that on a legal perspective. So it seems like he's all ready to go with everything. So I want to give Chavez the benefit of the doubt, but I have asked some direct questions, because one of the questions for me is there was 2% that was supposed to be allocated to pay back people for the golden parachute, remember, linked out of Wheel Satoshi. Now, the golden parachutes haven't been paid, and I don't know if that commitment still stands, but when I had spoken to some other people, they said that's not going to continue, the 2%. And also, look, well, let's just mention the golden parachute. How many people applied for the golden parachute got paid? What's happened to all those people?
I did.
Where are those people? Why are they not joining this campaign? I mean, they went through all the trouble of filling in documents and supplying everything, and now they can't fill in a three-line thing saying we want to go after our money. What's happened to the people that were running that golden parachute? All the Australian team, where are they? Are they just ignoring it? I don't know.
And then my last observation, Rory, is if you've got 3,000, that's about 30% of where you want it to be.
Yeah.
I make the assumption that the $15 will go up for those that are there. And I don't mind paying the extra 70% because I want to get to justice. Sam Lee's got to get stopped from doing this to any other person.
Correct. Look, from my side, I think that's a decision we can make. And maybe we get to the 1st of October, and maybe we say, listen, we've got 7,355. The target was 10,000. And we then pull the community together and say, okay, what do we want to do? Anyone says, well, let's go for it. And then we pay the difference. Or I would actually go out and say, you know what, guys, let's give it another 2 weeks. Let's go to everybody we know. Let's just get the 10,000, because it's about the numbers. It's about the people. And let's give ourselves that extra week to get the additional 10, to get to the 10,000. Let's get to the question, because right now a lot of people are distracted with Wheel Satoshi and other campaigns and running here and there. But I think this case is far more important to get to where we need to go, because when this does happen, and trust me, I'm busy with things on the ground at the moment. I'm not sitting idle right now. So we'll see where things go.
Thanks, Rory.
I'm just bamboozled at this actual pool that has been happened. But I appreciate everybody for being on the call and taking the time to meet. This is recorded, so I'll share the recording for those that couldn't make it. I don't see there's any questions here. I'm sorry, I just see a blank screen at the moment, Alan. So I don't know if there's anybody with a hand up or anything. Is there anybody else?
Most of the questions were answered. Some of the questions are asked, what's happening with Gobi and Tammy, how they're responding to this. What is the feedback from the leaders, the meeting that you had with them? So most of the questions were actually answered.
I see there's one person still asking, Beverly. Maybe let's take 2 more questions and then I'll end it. And let's see how we go. So,
just to jump in as well, all the questions on the chat was answered. I did answer them. So I did ask Beverly also if she can raise her hand. She's got also a good question.
Great, Beverly, please go ahead.
Yes, my concern is the leaders who you cannot get through. If you text them, they're not answering. Like people like Tammy, Gobi, Jackie, all these people and them who made a lot of money out of the community. I never made a cent. I have 10 people who came in with $10,000.
Wow.
That's 100,000.
Wow.
And all these people are calling me. I cannot sleep.
I'm sure, Beverly.
I cannot sleep. I have one family. They put together $70,000. One family. This is so wrong. And you're not hearing from these people and them who made millions. And I really believe that Sam Lee, because I used to love Sam. Everything he does, I used to love it. But when I really analyze things, I think he's behind all the projects. That's just me. That's how I'm feeling. And all these people who made these millions, and all these people who's calling me and asking me what happened and what happened and what happened, what am I to tell them? I myself put in 10,000. That's a lot of money for just 15 people to go down the drain like this.
No, Beverly, that's why we got to do something. That's why as a community, we have to do this together. We have to get together.
Yes, but Tammy and them need to come on, Tammy and Gobi, because they was pushing some down our throats too. And now they disappear. You cannot hear from them. Oh my God.
Yeah, like for me, I think they need to make a decision of what they want to do. And they will need to make that decision themselves. I don't want to speak very poorly of anybody. I know what I know, Gobi's got a big heart. I know he's given a lot of money to a lot of people. He's done a lot of things. I heard Tammy's also helped a lot of people. But regardless of that, in my opinion, any leader should want to get to the truth for their people.
Exactly. Nobody helped my people. I don't have money to give to my people.
Yeah. And that's why, Beverly, in my opinion, we can't just swipe this under the carpet and move on. There's so much money that has been lost here that you can't just sweep this under the carpet and just say, oh, we're just going to go after another project. We can't. There's too much damage. I mean, you've just mentioned $100,000. That is crazy amount of money. I know somebody that put in $8.3 million into Hyper.
Oh my
and
God.
only got 100,000 out.
Oh my God.
This is the level of what we got. But Beverly, what you can
somebody
do,
need to be accountable.
Somebody's going to be accountable. And again, I just want to get to the truth. That's what I want to get to. And then if we do get to the truth, we can trace the money. If we trace the money, then we can at least do something for the people.
Okay, so let's start this.
It's there. Beverly, please share it. I've got, are you on the, what do you call it? The distribution list where I put the video out and the Google form. Do you have that?
Yes, I did the Google form already.
Okay, just share the Google form with whoever and ask questions and, text, why don't you get your members to message the leaders that you want to get involved? And, they can't block all 10 people or 100 people. They're going to get the message one way or another.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Shiv, I see your hand is up, Shiv.
Rory, look, I totally agree with you. I think we should not stop at, say, 7,500 or whatever. I think numbers are very important. It's not about how much money we've got to fight these legal battles. It's the number of people that is impacted. And, and what we need is people who are right at the bottom as well as the big ones who lost money.
100%.
And something, the people and the majority of people who fill in that Google form, that is going to count more than any money that we can raise.
Agreed.
So I think we all have a responsibility to go to every single person we know to fill that Google form up and show the support that you require. Because something, listen, if you've got 3,500 people without advertising it as widely as you probably you haven't done as wide an advertising as you probably can do. So if we all put our efforts into it to be able to tell people, look, this is an honorable action and we need to get something done, I think we can reach those figures. And we should allow those 2 weeks to get those figures because the figures are important.
Very important.
It's not the muscle we have with the financial strength we have. It's the people that we are defending this class action with that counts.
That's correct. And if we've got enough people and we're there, we will carry the people that can't afford it or that have really suffered, that will happen in time. But we need that support. I think
also, Rory, I think what we need to realize and recognize about Sammy as well is he comes up with ideas off the hoof, suddenly without doing any sort of inside work or calculations or due diligence or anything that he does. I mean, he's introduced this Vend, okay, all very well introducing Vend. Which advertiser is actually throwing money at him to advertise on his platform when they know his activities are so questionable?
Shiv, there is no one doing it. It's a site that pays hardly anything, and they're just promoting the fact now. I mean, they said, well, let's get the answers on how much revenue has been generated on advertising. I mean, but I'm just looking at, they've just had a meeting here. $20,500 went into Vend this week, and a total of $57,000 has already been sent to a program that is known that they're going to take the money. I'm just totally
these are
bamboozled.
suicidal platforms, and I think they're sucking in people.
Completely. I've just been asked to drop in the Google form sheet here, which I'll do and just send that in. But look, for everybody here, I really appreciate you coming onto the call and giving the support that you have. And I think the best support that we can get is by just asking the other people to at least participate and to, get the word out. And if we need to take it another week, we as a community can decide, yes, we want to, take another week to go and get to that number, as you say, Shiv, to get to the 10,000 or so. Because I believe that we can get to that number. And I think it is necessary that we do get a substantial amount of people behind the initiative. Because as you say, that muscle will get the attention of the authorities that's needed.
The last one, Nasrila.
Okay. Last question, and then we'll call it. Thank you for attending. Nasrila?
Hi, thank you, Rory, for taking my question. I've got quite a big team from Hypernation and Vidilook who haven't had their 1x out. And just to give you the scale, we invested $500,000 in Vidilook as a team. And nobody's had their 1x out other than obviously me being the leader. So I've obviously supported them as much as I could. I've got a big team. They are not willing to put in another penny, whether it is for the action or anything else, because they don't trust the system anymore. I can get them to sign the Google form. Will that count towards the 10,000 numbers?
We'll have to just assess it at the end. So those that can't afford it and have contacted me directly, I've asked them to complete the form and make a special note in the comment section. And then we'll just have to assess it at the end. I mean, if 9,000 people say they can't pay, then we got to assess it. Then we got to make up the difference in the financial sense. So, but you said you raised 500. How big is that community?
In Hypernation, only 200 I had, but $500,000 I had massive investors.
Okay, so those investors, they can't afford $15 and they're not prepared to.
It's not that they can't afford it. They're just not interested in the community and what we're doing anymore, because obviously they feel like they've been scammed. And,
Sure.
now I'm coming to the realization after being in Vidilook wars and everything that I've been scammed, So,
Okay.
I have spoken to them. They are happy that some action's been taken. Some of them have filled out the form, but most of them are saying they don't want to contribute another penny, because obviously, even though I think what you're doing is honest and genuine, but they obviously don't know you and they haven't followed you like I have. So, I mean, I'm happy to contribute a little bit more for some of my team, but I can get you many signatures to get that 10,000 number. But then I guess what you're saying, it does defeat the purpose if we don't have the funds behind it.
Correct. So I think let's go, if they're not interested.
I think there's a lot of leaders in my situation.
Yeah, well, I think as leaders, discuss it with your teams. But at the end of the day, we need the numbers. I think, what I've got planned might even bring some added value, as I said, to everybody. But I don't want that to be the reason. I don't want that to be the problem. And also, there's a lot of leaders that should be putting in more than $15, that they could actually come out and say, and I'm not saying it's yourself. It's saying, look, I'll cover 100 people, for example. And, who are those people? But I think the need needs to come from the people. If people are not, you're telling me they're not interested, or they don't want to put another penny, or they're just over it. Those are not the people that are going to fill in the information we need to take action. We need people that are actually wanting to get the truth and are wanting to get a chance of getting their money back. Because I can tell you now, if we've got 10,000 people, as Shiv said, and it goes to the Dubai courts, and it's all on an international front, we're going to be shaking some serious trees very quickly in Dubai.
What about the sort of signature route? Because I think we get a lot more signatures to saying they support this action, whether we get funds or not.
I don't. What does that do then? Okay, we got
Doesn't that
signatures.
at least bring some? Well, it creates some noise in the right places where we'll get some recognition. But meanwhile, we still obviously try and clear what you're doing with the funds as well.
For me, I'm not going to go after this for signatures. I'm going after this to take action. I'm after this to get to the courts and do what we need to do. You know, petitions, there's so many petitions out there to do all different things. I'm not here just to petition. I don't want to give up my time and all your guys' times. I want to be here to get the support and then follow through with what I say I'm going to do. And if we get 10,000 people that are committed and there's $15 per person, I know with $150,000, we can do what we need to do to get to the truth. That's what I know, you know. And out of 108,000 people, we can't get 10,000 people. And how many people were in Hyper, in your opinion, Nasrila? Would you say there were 300,000 people? 400,000?
I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, well, you know, some say up to 1.8 million, but let's say there were 300,000 people. You know, we're not talking of a large percentage here. All right, thank you for your question.
I'm going to try and get as many of them on board. So
Really, at the end of the day, what we've got to do is we got people to recognize the fact that we can't be hoodwinked by an idiot like Sam, who has used every tactic in the book to be able to scam everyone. I think out of principle, I mean, I'm not, you know, this is not sort of gambling with your money. This is actually contributing towards an action we should all be contemplating taking for being duped by someone, you know, who's turned out to be a real scammer. I think, you know, we should encourage people that this is not something that they're investing in. They are actually seeking justice with this. And $15, if people can't afford $15 to be able to take to task someone who's actually duped them in the manner that he has, I think it's a sorry state of affairs if they aren't able to put $15 when they spend thousands and thousands and thousands in these scams.
Agreed, Shiv, agreed. And that's why I want to look at that. Yeah, I mean, people say people are tired. We all tired, but tired people to let more people get justice, you know, walk away. And that's why I'm saying, Shiv, it's up to the community now to decide. And I do believe with the right support, we can get to where we need to go. We all tired. We all lost. But what do we do about it? Do we just crawl into a corner and let them carry on doing it to other people? Or do we get to the truth and have the chance of getting our money back? It is really up to the community and the leaders to make a decision of what they want to do. And I can only do so much. And with all the voices around the table, we can at least raise the awareness and get the questions answered or support that we need. And I agree with you, Shiv, $15. And where those people can't afford it, I'm sure there are leaders or other people that will try and help those people as well. So we can all as a community get healed. All right. Thank you very much for everybody attending. I'm going to end the Zoom. I really appreciate it. Thank you for attending on short notice. I will keep updating and let's see where we are by the 1st of October. If you could please communicate out to everybody and ask those leaders where they stand that you want to get answers from, and maybe let's get the message out there and let's see where we are at the end of the month. So we know we're 30% of the way. We can achieve this in a week or two. So thank you very much for attending. Have a super Monday. Bye for now.
Thanks, Rory, for the leadership and taking action.